There's no question about it. A lot of people picking on the Trump administration right now, including this this 3-judge panel dealing Trump's global tariffs a tough setback. Thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk a little bit about tariffs and the big, beautiful bill, and Americans for Prosperity, one of our favorite organizations in America. Ken Strang is the managing director for Americans for Prosperity. They sent me one of the big dogs today. I love this. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm just trying to figure out how these courts, how this is going to continue to happen, where we see these rulings from unelected judges that continue to sort of give a setback to the Trump agenda. Let's start with the one big, beautiful bill before we get into the tariffs and this court ruling yesterday, if you don't mind. I want to get the Americans for Prosperity sort of big picture perspective on the bill. I keep telling people, relax. This is how the sausage is made. You got a lot of it crossed the finish line in the House. We got a lot of senators who are weighing in. Give me the AFP perspective on where we're headed with the one big beautiful bill.
Well, the House took an amazing step in passing the one big beautiful bill with very small margins in the House. They have a 4-seat majority in the House. It passed with 1 vote. And what this does is this makes permanent President Trump's 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. It maintains the rates. It makes them permanent. This is also a border bill. This is a bill that funds important resources for our folks down on the border. It has some good health care provisions. But more than anything, this is an opportunity to provide certainty for our market and ensure that Americans are not faced with the biggest tax hike in American history.
There isn't an organization like Americans for Prosperity in terms of the grassroots way to move the needle. You're out there knocking on doors every day. What are you hearing? Because, we just had a caller point out that the power of suggestion is strong. You got people that are screaming that the economy is tanking, that jobs are being lost, and that the country is on fire. And then you've got, defenders of the administration saying, hold on, consumer confidence continues to soar. Unemployment, we're at full unemployment in America. So what are you guys hearing as you're talking to citizens day to day?
We've knocked on over 100,000 doors on this issue, and what we hear, 2 things. One is Americans are still reeling on the failed policies and the 40-year high inflation of Bidenomics. Bidenomics cost the average American family $11,400 more just to maintain their lifestyle. And what they want is they want to ensure that Congress does not usher in new tax hikes. We had a poll that just showed that 8 in 10 Americans want their tax rates to remain the same. But we're also hearing from hundreds of businesses across the country that they need the provisions of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act to provide certainty for their businesses, to reinvest in equipment, reinvest in their employees, hire more folks, expand. And so we're hearing from those 2 camps, which was why it's so important for Republicans to deliver on their promise of providing tax relief to the American people and the American families.
Ken Strang is the managing director for Americans for Prosperity, joining us here on the Mike Gallagher Show. What do you see as the biggest challenges in the U.S. Senate? We've got folks like Ron Johnson, Rand Paul saying, no, we got a lot of work to do. Right now, we're a hard no. What are your thoughts as this is winding its way through the U.S. Senate?
They clearly want more spending cuts. And look, I'm a fiscal hawk myself. I would like to see more spending cuts. So what we want to do is we want to see them get as many spending cuts as we can that allows this bill to pass. Remember, very small margins as it kicks back to the House of Representatives. And then in addition to that, come alongside this bill to ensure that we don't have the biggest tax hike in American history, pass some rescissions packages along with this, codify the DOGE savings. We might see a package like that on Monday that goes to the House when they come back from recess. So continue to do as much as you can in the wasteful spending. Get this to President Trump's desk. Get it passed, then come alongside, pass some rescissions packages to rein in the wasteful bloat of Washington, D.C.
And I've got a way for everybody who's watching and listening right now to get off the sidelines and engage. Go to protectprosperity.com. Take action. This is a great organization that is truly doing some of the most important work in the country today. Americans for Prosperity. Go to protectprosperity.com. You can lend your voice to this important effort and fight for our country. Like we said at the start of the hour, fight, fight, fight. Like Limbaugh said, like the great Rush said, we're never going to give up. It's not time to panic. We got to continue to do the work. Protectprosperity.com. Let's talk about this ruling. I wasn't all that familiar with the Court of International Trade, a three-panel circuit that said no to Trump using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to enact the tariffs. What's the AFP reaction to this ruling yesterday, and where do we go from here, Kent?
Like you, something that I don't track every single day, but let's look at what the president has done and what he's doing. The president is a master negotiator, and what he's done with the tariffs or with the threat of tariffs is forced other countries to come to the negotiating table and negotiate. And so what we would love to see is President Trump be an incredible negotiator, bring these countries to the table and negotiate tariffs as close to zero or down to zero as possible. So then we have economic certainty and more investment coming to the United States and open trade for us.
And, you know, again, we tend to react in the moment. Kent, do you get that sense as well that we see a headline, we panic, and this is not a time for panic. This is a time for determination, but none of this is going to come easy. I mean, look, Trump and Republicans are up against an awful lot right now.
They certainly are, and it's so important for Republicans to make good on their promises. They told the American people exactly what they were going to do. They were going to keep taxes low. They were going to cut government spending. They were going to find efficiencies, and they were going to deliver. That's what voters sent them to do in November, and that's what they need to do now. They can do that by passing the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. That provides border security. That provides permanency in the Trump tax cuts. They can go cut the wasteful government spending that Elon set them up to do through the DOGE savings. They need to deliver for American taxpayers. It's so incredible that they show that, especially as they get ahead of midterms, to show the American people that you sent us to do a job and we did it.
Well, you're doing a great job. You're doing amazing work. In fact, your campaigns, the Bidenomics campaign and Prosperity is Possible campaigns, just incredible work. Kent Strang, Managing Director of Americans for Prosperity. We appreciate you visiting with us here on the Mike Gallagher Show. Keep fighting the good fight. And again, everybody needs to go to protectprosperity.com. Take action today. Learn all about how to extend these tax cuts and what you can do. Go to protectprosperity.com. Kent, I appreciate you joining us here on the Mike Gallagher Show.
Thank you so much for having me. Come back anytime.
You bet. Look forward to having you soon. Protectprosperity.com. Protectprosperity.com.